Are you a crafter? What is all that?
It's just I'm a total
Oh, it's
geek. I mean, it's
your got figures and all of the
oh
all your
yeah,
collections.
I do, yes.
Okay. So geeky, really geeky. Mama's
Oh
really
yes,
geeky.
I'm very geeky.
Okay. Okay.
Great,
Well,
great.
I love this is like a Mulan reunion. What was it like getting to work together again?
It's great.
Together and not together, if you know what I
Well,
mean.
yeah.
Yeah,
You
it's
know, it's really interesting because it's really not a sense of being together at all until you see the finished product and you see how it all comes together. We're very isolated. I live in New York, so I did all of my voice work in New York, and James and Ming are in LA, I think, right?
Yeah.
And so it's the modern technology. But it is true what Ming said a few minutes ago, that we kind of know each other's rhythms and we know each other's voices and kind of instincts, and so you can kind of hear your colleagues speaking the lines when they're even when they're not there, because one, it's well written for them, and two, they you just know them, so you kind of work off of that idea of their energy. What do you guys think?
well, and I love it because then, we do have an opportunity to like do these press junkets and get to see each other
Yes.
and hang out for a bit. And because, we all have such busy lives now, whether it's with kids or work or anything else that's going on. So I just love anytime I can have a little mini reunion with these two wonderful guys.
Yes, me too.
Well,
Yes.
for me, it's been a long time waiting to do the good things on whether it's TV or movies for voiceover, because when I was in Minneapolis, Minnesota, there wasn't a chance to do anything, So I grew up in the age when I would look at TV or listen to radio, and then I would impersonate them because there was no way to perform. So I learned from the days of, what's if that, he'll have it, here's a little carrot for you, miserable little rabbit. All those characters that I used to hear, now I can perform them on TV and get paid for it, So it's been a wonderful venture.
I love it so much. What does it mean to you guys to be able to bring Gremlins to a new generation? Because this is kind of like an introduction for a lot of kids, I think. And Ming-Na, if you want to go first.
Well, I was a huge fan of the original film, huge fan of Steven Spielberg, and the fact that they have cleverly taken a very mysterious character, which was their launching point for Gremlins, this Chinese character named Mr. Wang, and able to now take him and bring him back to the 1920s in Shanghai and tell his origin story, and have it be so wrapped in Chinese culture and history, and to have, Zicheng behind it and in writing it and directing it. For me, it's sort of like they took a Chinese character of the Mogwai and now is giving it the respect of telling how it happened, how it originated, and all the other folklores and stories that embodies, our culture and what I grew up with.
BD, what does it mean to you to be able to bring this to a new generation?
Did you say me?
Yes.
Thank you. I feel like at the time when this movie came out, all three of us, our whole community, we were starved for representation. We would kill to have better representation and more inclusivity and more diversity in the movies. And some progress has happened between the time that I was a kid and now, so that this project, as it is initiated, is partly in service to creating a more diverse landscape in the industry and in the entertainment field. And I'm grateful for that. I'm happy to say that we're alive to see this happening while we're working and vital and able to not only enjoy it as actors, but to enjoy it as audience members. It's really important for our kids and all of that stuff. And so for this project to also be intergenerational, I think it's brilliant that it's animated, because it kind of takes it to a whole new audience of people. It can still be scary and kind of dark and funny, but it's now got a kind of it's not quite as scary as it would be if it was like live action. And I think that's intentional, and I think that's wonderfully part of the the passing of the torch to the new generation. And this wonderful idea that those people who enjoyed it at the time are now parents, so they want to enjoy this brand of Gremlins with their kids, and this is their opportunity to do that. I love it. I think it's very positive.
And anytime I get to work with our patriarch, James Hong,
Yes.
it's wonderful because he makes
Thank
me
you.
feel really young.
Oh my
Yeah, well,
gosh.
I think it's wonderful that it's come back in a sense.
Yes.
It has a second life. That's wonderful. Anything good should be revived again. And like my daughter April told me when she was in school, one of her boyfriends used to always go just imitate the character, the Mogwais, and now that character has come back again with the same sound. It seems like it's the past coming up to forward to let the generation of this time enjoy it again, and to be part of it is really something. And to work with these wonderful actor Ming-Na and wonderful actor that are sitting with his earphones even. So it's I don't know why he needs earphones. I'm the one that needs the earphones, right?
I just like the surround sound. I like to be in the
I see.
world. It's my own audio geekiness.
Well, good.
So I'm having a
Whatever
bad
it
hair
is,
day.
Yeah, whatever it good. If it works, do it.
It
So I'm
works,
just
that's
happy
right.
to be part of it. To in the next few years say, yeah, I was one of the main characters in it. So it's wonderful to be in something that is grand.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, you're all
Big
so
scale.
great. I really enjoyed the series. I loved it. I can't wait for my kids to watch it. And thank you
yeah.
guys so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
You guys have a great day. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to talk with me today.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you
you.
for coming to talk to us.
Of course, listen, my whole family's massive fans of the Gremlins movies. So my kids are so excited for this. I'm making them wait because we're going to the event on Friday. And I told them,
Oh, cool.
can't watch
Amazing.
my screeners, which they're
Yeah,
very
that's
mad that I've seen it and they have not. But I'd love to know what does it mean to you guys to kind of bring Gremlins to a new generation?
Go ahead, Brendan.
No, you go for it, Z.
Brendan and I, we're huge fans of the original Gremlins movies. It was an incredibly formative experience for us growing up, and we're also, we grew up watching Amblin movies, and so this is really a dream to, have been fans watching these things and, growing up with, these filmmakers as our heroes. To be able to live inside of this like mythology of this franchise for the last few years has been really incredible.
Yeah, and it's been great it's a nice gateway to share not just movies that we love with our kids as we kind of, we both have children, kind of pass on to the next generation, but also these are films that gave us nightmares as kids. So we get to pass that on to our kids too, which has been cool.
It is always fun to be like, now you have to deal with it. That's what I had to do. Z, for you, like, where did this, like, how did you decide, okay, we're going to do the backstory of Mr. Wing? Like, where did that idea come from?
It started with a conversation between Amblin and Warner Brothers. They said that after so many years, they want to do a Gremlins series and an animated prequel series. And my idea was, why don't we do it as like a Amblin-esque action adventure story that tells the origin story of how Mr. Wing, he was 10 years old, met Gizmo and all the adventures that they went on, the friends that they made, the enemies that they made. And it was really about wanting to do something that was in the size and scope of the movies that I grew up loving, things like Raiders of the Lost Ark or Goonies, and to tell something that was really cinematic as a lead up to what we see in the original Gremlins movies.
Yeah, and can you also talk about just representation done right with this series as well and bringing this cast on?
Sure. I mean, one of the things I've brought up is that I feel so lucky to be in this time in this place, and that 10 years ago, even if there were Asians or Asian Americans in front of the camera, very often there wouldn't be Asian Americans telling the story. And I mean, I'm really proud of our producers for encouraging us and supporting us as we really crewed up the show with a lot of Asian American creators. And then obviously we have this incredible voice cast as well. I'm really excited in that a lot of the spirits and creatures and monsters from Chinese mythology that populate the show are things that I was really scared of when I was a kid. And again, I hope to pass that on to American audiences who don't really have a context for it, but I hope that their children are scared of it as well.
So you're saying you made this to terrify children. I love it.
I think that Brendan and I are aligned in that is our main goal in this industry.
It's why I got into entertainment. Yeah, exactly.
Well, Brendan, for you, what was it about Gremlins, this series, that just made you want to be a part of it?
I mean, honestly, as a Gremlins fan, I remember was catching up with our exec at Warner Animation, Audrey Deal, and one day, and she's like, "Oh, we might start doing some projects with Amblin." And I think before she even got out the Lin part of the name, I'm like, "If Gremlins is ever one of them, I want in." And thankfully, so she introduced me to Z, and yeah, it's kind of just been like that ever since. I mean, the original Gremlins sparked terror for me, also a love for horror that's never gone away, and the second Gremlins just introduced me to kind of just how big and wild and unrestrained comedy can be. And they two of my all-time favorite movies, so I just wanted to play with Gremlins. My main hope here was just to be able to brainstorm Gremlins gags, and getting to do that and so much more has just made it even better.
Yeah, and can you guys talk about bringing Zach in? Because that's really, really cool. I love that you did that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, one of the things that we want to do with the show was, have it satisfy and appeal to fans of the original Gremlins movies, as well as bring in new fans. And so there's a lot of Easter eggs, and there's like casting choices that, original fans of the original will hopefully enjoy. And Zach, obviously, front and center in the original movies.
Yeah.
It was such a trip to be able to bring him to Comic-Con and bring him out in front of the audience last year. And just the fan reaction, knowing that Zach is involved, was really wonderful.
You have anything to add to that, Brendan?
Just as I say, it was fun. We knew from a get-go that we wanted Zach in there, and it was a little while till we could figure out what role for him. So one of the best things was at least finding another human who is constantly on the receiving end of Gremlin pain and problems. Just seemed at least like, if we can't beat Billy, at least it's somebody who's connected that way.
And God bless the cast. We had about a year of working on the show before COVID hit. And so a lot of the cast recorded in their closets with kits that we sent them. So now we know what the inside of everyone's closet looks like.
Yeah, I definitely have a rank from like nicest to messiest on our cast closets.
Whose is the nicest?
I'm trying to think. Okay. I was going to say the messiest is actually my easiest one. And look, any of us when we were 12 years old probably had a messy closet. So I got to throw Izaac under the bus on that. I think the nicest stuff might have actually been, Zach always did go into a studio where he was, but I think that AJ actually created a really nice setup for his. I know he started using like egg crates. Like he really got into trying to perfect the sound of his closet.
I love that. So if you guys had a Mogwai, like how do you think it would go in real life? Would you like break all the rules, or do you think you'd be a really good Mogwai pet owner?
I think that if I was given a Mogwai, all of Los Angeles would be destroyed within like 48 hours.
Yeah. I want to believe that, because my family has 2 dogs and a cat. I want to believe that, like, well, if we can raise them, we'd raise a Mogwai. I also know that my children, and I do, I can't just blame it on them, we spill water at an alarming rate in our home. We are always mopping something up. So yeah, no, Los Angeles is doomed.
It would go wrong immediately. And then final question before we wrap up. How would you describe this series in 3 words?
Scary, funny, weird. I think those were kind of our guiding light.
If I was, the only one, cute would be the only, if we're going to throw in a 4th word, but yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And I loved this series. I watched it. I got the screeners and I watched it all the way through one day.
Awesome.
I was like, I can't stop. I loved it. And I love the animation style and the stories. I thought it was a lot of fun and fantastic cast. It was like a
Oh, thank
Mulan
you so much.
reunion with the cast.
Yeah,
It is,
exactly.
it is, yeah.
It was great. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate your time, and maybe I'll see you Friday at the event.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, be awesome to see you Friday. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you for the time today. I loved this series. I thought it was so much fun. I'd love to know, I guess, what made you want to be a part of it? And Izaac, if you want to start first.
I mean, probably just like the overall character and the storyline. That's kind of what mainly attracted me. It was a really really good script in my opinion. The way the story kind of plays out over time, it's a very detailed story. I also like kind of the fact that it's a mix of comedy and horror, just like the original Gremlins, right? So
Mhm.
that's also kind of a big attraction point. And another big one is just the fan base. It's cool to see such a huge community behind this movie and behind this basically like subgenre at this point. So yeah.
And then how about you, AJ?
I mean, I saw the audition and I was like, Gizmo? Like, that was it. I was sold. I was like, they're making a thing with Gizmo. And I don't think at the time it was for a series. They just wanted to sound alike. So it was like, this is before anyone was involved. Even the director, Brendan Hay, wasn't on the show yet. It was just a test. And so I saw it, freaked out, like ran out with the copy to my girlfriend's like, do Gizmo. So I was like, yeah, whatever it is. I was shocked when I got it. Because, I just assume everyone has a Gizmo voice, so I was very surprised. What was the question? Why did I want to be a part of it? 'Cause
Yeah.
it's Gremlins. That's
Yeah.
why.
And then how about you, Gabrielle?
Well, so voiceover is a really, really hard genre for an actor. I remember at the time I had probably done like 1,000 voiceover auditions, hadn't booked a thing. But then Gremlins, the audition came around and I was like, you know what? I didn't even have a voiceover set up yet. I was recording auditions on my phone with my headphones in my bedroom. And so I recorded the audition in my bedroom with my little Apple headphones that come with the phone and sent it in. And then, things worked out. But what really made me want to become a part of the project was the fan base. Gremlins is something that is iconic. My parents grew up on it. I have so many friends who are huge fans of the films. So it's an honor to become a part of something that people already love. And I think that was what was the most attractive part of the project.
Yeah. And what does it mean to you guys to be bringing it to a new generation? Because like I have a 10 and 11-year-old and we've watched the films and now they're like so excited for this and telling their friends, and friends hadn't seen the films. So it's kind of like reinvigorating the whole franchise.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, it's scary to bring something from, the 80s and 90s to our generation because, you don't know how they're going to react. They didn't grow up on it. It wasn't a part of their childhood for most people. So it's a brand new concept for a lot of people. I know when I was on All That was something that was another cult classic that people loved from the 90s, but it was the same type of anticipation, like, oh, are people going to like this? This is the same but different. Is there enough nostalgia? Is there enough new characters? You have to marry the current times with the nostalgic aspect. So it's always a little bit of jitters, but it's an honor.
Izaac, how about you?
I mean, kind of blanked on what the question was.
Just bringing.
Thank God, because I did too.
Yeah, very nice. Guys,
Gabby,
we're on
your
the
answer
same
was
page.
so good that I was just like, well, she answered it.
Yeah. Just like reinvigorating the franchise of Gremlins and like, is it intimidating? What does it mean to you?
Yeah, okay. A lot of pressure. A lot of people are looking at the series right now. They're like people are judging naturally. That's just how humans are most of the time. So it's gonna be interesting to see if it's gonna be more of a positive impact or a negative impact. I think it's gonna be positive. I think the show is really good. Everything about the show, like aspect wise, is just like amazing. The art, the storyline, the comedy, the horror, the parts. It's great. So I think it's gonna be great. I am a little bit intimidated, but it's gonna be fun.
How about you, AJ? What's it like to just be Gizmo?
It's weird. It's really, really, really weird. I mean, it'll never stop being weird taking on any sort of iconic role where people are looking at you and judging you against what came before. It's very surreal. I'm super honored, and I'm also relieved after watching the show that I'm like, oh, thank God, it's really good. Now it's just a matter of people seeing it, and I feel very thankfully, you record in a vacuum basically, where it's just like you read the script, but you can't picture it. You don't know how it's all going to come together. And now that we've started to watch some of the episodes and stuff, it's like, oh, okay, it's really good, and it bridges the gap, I think, brilliantly, where it's not. It feels like an old classic story to some degree, where it's like an older adventure that doesn't. It's not. It feels like something that's almost existed for a while, kind of like Avatar: The Last Airbender or something, where you're just like, oh, this is just a big adventure, but in the Gremlins world. So I feel, and also a lot of like Amblin. If you're a fan of the Amblin stuff, I'm surprised at how adult the kids are. There's so much stuff where I'm like, oh my God, that was scary or violent, and in a way that, as someone who grew up with 80s movies and 90s movies, it's exciting to see kids being real. And like there's some stuff where they're wielding weapons where I'm like, wow, cool. So I think it's a nice I don't know how to describe it, modern reboot, but not modern in the sense that it feels very classic.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And then final question, real quick before we wrap. If you had a Mogwai, do you think you could like take care of it, or would you
No.
just immediately destroy your whole house? No,
Hell
AJ
no.
immediately says no.
No, not
I mean,
at all.
heck
I know
no.
Isaac can't either.
You know
Gabby,
what?
you could.
I think I'd be pretty good at it.
Have
I
the capability. I think so as well.
I feel like a gremlin would be a good challenge. It's like kind of like a dog, but harder.
Yeah, I think
Much harder. A dog
you're
you can't
probably the
give
most
water or
responsible one
food.
here.
Yeah.
Unlike me and AJ.
Yeah, no, I can't even get my dog to like not eat things off the floor in the park, or I'm like,
My
no,
cats
please,
eat grass. They eat
So-
grass and cobwebs. They're cows.
Mine are always
Cats are
finding like
weird, I
little
don't know.
pieces of chicken someone left behind from like a picnic, and I'm like, no, I don't want to take you to the vet. So I don't know if I'd be very good at that.
Well, thank you guys so much for your time. I really, really enjoyed it. And I'll be at the event Friday, so maybe I'll see you guys there.
Yay, we'll be there in our fancier clothes, probably.
Yeah.
Semi fancier.
Semi fancier.
Semi-fancier.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank
Have
you
a
so
good
much.
one.